Calcitonin.
Yes, very good. Calcitonin. So parathyroid hormone is responsible for increasing the plasma concentration level of calcium, whereas calcitonin is responsible for decreasing the plasma concentration of calcium. So we can say that both in conjugation with each other are responsible for regulating the concentration of calcium in the blood, because as you are aware that calcium is one of the most important ions which is we can present in the body, responsible for contraction of the muscles, responsible for clotting of the blood, responsible for strengthening the bones, teeth, and the other functions also. So being an important we can say iron in the body, there are two hormones which regulate the concentration. Apart from this, we have vitamin D also, which is not regulating the concentration of calcium, whereas calcium is regulating the concentration of, or we can say absorption, increased absorption or decreased excretion of the vitamin D as well. So being as an important iron, major functions are being performed. So this is showing how the regulation of secretion and the actions of parathyroid hormone occurs. So generally, whenever there is decrease in concentration level of calcium in the blood, parathyroid hormone will be released, and this parathyroid hormone will now, we can say, we can sorry, this parathyroid hormone now will lead to the movement of calcium from the bones towards the blood circulation, because the calcium is present in the bones as well, calcium is present in the plasma circulation also, but the plasma concentration of the calcium is required to be maintained by the parathyroid hormone. So whenever there is decrease in the plasma concentration of the calcium, then movement of calcium from the bones towards the blood circulation will also occur. That is the reason, if the intake of calcium is being reduced, or we can say if the absorption of the calcium from the small intestine decreases, the movement of calcium from the bones towards the blood circulation occurs. And in older, it may happen, or we can say it generally occur in the older age, then it may even lead to osteoporosis because of the movement of the calcium and the other ions from the bones towards the blood circulation, because in the blood circulation the minimum level is required to be maintained. So that's why now the bone will suffer here. They will we can say they will it will lead to the movement of calcium from the bones towards the blood circulation. Second, we can say that the uh, excretion of the calcium from the kidneys or in the urine, we can say, will be also be decreased. So decreased loss of calcium in the urine will present there, or we can say increased absorption of calcium from the intestine will also start. So when the we can say calcium is present in the food, the absorption of the calcium will we can say be increased from the food also, from the intestine, and this will also happen in the presence of the vitamin D. If vitamin D is present in sufficient quantity in the body, then this vitamin D will help the absorption of the calcium from the small intestines, and all three together they will lead to the increased concentration of the calcium in the blood. So parathyroid hormone is responsible for maintaining the concentration of the calcium in the bones, sorry, in the blood circulation. So as a result here, the increased calcium concentration will be achieved. Then regulation of secretion, how the we can say regulation of parathyroid hormone is being done. Parathyroid hormone is regulated by plasma calcium concentration. So that's why the calcium sensing receptors, which are also the G protein coupled receptors, are present on the parathyroid hormone. So in the last classes we studied how the growth hormone was, we can say, regulated. That was regulated by the release of growth releasing hormone from the we can say hypothalamus. So from the thyroid, we discussed that thyroid stimulating hormone was released by the anterior pituitary, and thyroid releasing hormone was released by the hypothalamus. So there was a specific hormone for regulating the functions of the other hormones as well. Whereas in the case of parathyroid hormone, there are calcium sensing receptors. These calcium sensing receptors, they will identify the concentration of the calcium in the blood circulation. So if the plasma calcium concentration is less, then only they will get activated. G protein coupled receptors will be get activated and will lead to the release of parathyroid hormone. But if the plasma uh, the calcium concentration is sufficient enough, then these hormones, they will identify that there is no decrease in the plasma calcium concentration, so parathyroid hormone will not be released. So there is no specific hormone for the release of parathyroid hormone. Then second we have is the prolonged hypocalcemia also causes hypertrophy and hyperplasia of the parathyroid, whereas hypercalcemia has has opposite effect. This means whenever there is deficiency of the calcium in the blood circulation, then they will keep on stimulating the parathyroid hormone through the G protein coupled receptors. As a result, hyperactivity of the parathyroid gland will occur. There will be increase in the size of the parathyroid gland. There will be increase in the number of cells present in the parathyroid gland. This occurs because of continuous stimulation of the parathyroid hormone by the decreasing concentration of the calcium. Whereas if the we can say calcium concentration in the blood circulation is increased, or it is, we can say, on the higher side, then there will be no stimulation. As a result, there will be decrease in the number of the cells, there will be decrease in the size of the parathyroid gland. Active form of vitamin D also inhibits the expression of parathyroid hormone gene in the parathyroid cells, reducing PTH production. This means here that if vitamin D is present in sufficient quantity in the blood circulation, vitamin D itself will increase the absorption of the calcium from the small intestine. As a result, sufficient calcium concentration will be present. No parathyroid hormone will be released from the parathyroid gland, and also we can say also the parathyroid hormone, we can say, in the parathyroid cells expression will also be reduced. As a result, we can say that if vitamin D present in sufficient quantity, then the release of the parathyroid hormone by the parathyroid gland is also less. Then PTH is rapidly degraded in liver and kidney. Plasma half-life is 2 to 5 minutes. Then these are the actions of the parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormone increases the plasma calcium levels, as we discussed, from the movement of it. This is called as resorption. Resorption because there is reversal movement of the, we can say, iron from the bone towards the blood circulation. And secondly, the excretion of the, we can say, calcium from the kidneys in the urine will also be reduced. So more calcium resorption will also occur in the distal convoluted tubule part of the kidney. Parathyroid hormone also indirectly increases calcium absorption from the intestines by enhancing formation of calcitriol, that is the active form of vitamin D in kidney, which promotes intestinal absorption of calcium. So as I said, that they both parathyroid hormone helps in converting the active form of vitamin D to the kidney, and vitamin D promotes the intestinal absorption of calcium. So if vitamin D is present in sufficient quantity, then it will help the absorption of calcium. Then hypoparathyroidism manifestations whenever there will be less parathyroid level in the blood circulation. So low plasma calcium level will be there. Tetany, that is, we can say, involuntary muscular spasm of the generally of the skeletal muscles may occur. So that is called as tetany. Convulsions may also be present there. Some psychiatric problems may also appear in some of the individuals. They all are attributed to the decreased calcium level. Then the therapeutic uses for parathyroid hormone. It is not used to treat hypothyroidism because plasma calcium concentration can be elevated and kept in normal range more convenient for the vitamin D. And the reason here is that parathyroid hormone synthesis is somewhat more difficult, tedious as compared to the vitamin D. Vitamin D is inexpensive also as compared to the parathyroid hormone. So the direct treatment by the parathyroid hormone is not required. So if we can give vitamin D therapy, then it itself will be helpful in increasing the plasma concentration of calcium. So the vitamin D therapy will be useful. While parathyroid hormone is also required to be given parenterally, whereas vitamin D can be given orally. It is expensive, whereas vitamin D is inexpensive. And the recombinant human parathyroid hormone has been produced, but is still being clinically evaluated. So for, we can say, treating the condition of hypoparathyroidism. PTH hormone is not required because it is required for maintaining the concentration of calcium only. So vitamin D can be administered, or we can say indirect calcium supplements may also help, may also lead to the help. But if there is, we can say, some difficulty in the absorption of the calcium, because generally in the old age the absorption of the calcium from the small intestine generally occurs, but this absorption can be enhanced by increasing the calcium concentration of vitamin D. Because in the presence of the vitamin D, the calcium absorption is increased from the small intestine. Then these are the preparations for the parathyroid hormone. It is used to treat severe osteoporosis, and it is the only one agent which stimulates new bone formation, whereas the others check the bone absorption. High cost and need for daily subcutaneous injections are the limitations. Then the second hormone we have is the calcitonin. As we discussed, that calcitonin is required for decreasing the concentration of the calcium in the plasma circulation. So what we can say that both the parathyroid hormone and the calcitonin, they are helpful in maintaining the concentration of the calcium in the blood circulation. They are helpful in maintaining the concentration of the calcium in the blood circulation. So calcitonin is a hypocalcemic hormone. It is responsible for decreasing the plasma calcium level and is also released by the parafollicular cells of the thyroid gland. So parathyroid, thyroid, they both calcitonin is released by the thyroid gland, where parafollicular cells of the thyroid gland, whereas parathyroid hormone is released by the parathyroid hormone, which is present on the posterior side of the thyroid hormone itself. So calcitonin, it is responsible for increasing the this is the we can say regulation of secretion of the calcitonin. So it is, we can say, controlled by the plasma calcium concentration. So if the calcium concentration in the plasma is increased, then calcitonin will be secreted. If the concentration of the calcium is decreased, then the parathyroid hormone will be secreted. So decrease in the plasma calcium concentration decreases calcitonin secretion. So by this diagram on the right side, you can understand easily. So if the calcium level rises above the set point, then the calcitonin by the parafollicular cells of the thyroid gland, they will release calcitonin. Then whenever the calcium concentration is achieved, so the concentration, so the release of the calcitonin will decrease. But if the calcium level falls below the set point, that means if the calcium concentration, plasma level concentration of the calcium decreases, then the parathyroid hormone will be released by the this you can see here, that on the back side of the parathyroid hormone, four parathyroid glands present on the posterior side, yellow dots you can see here, they will be responsible for releasing the parathyroid hormone, and this parathyroid hormone will increase the blood calcium concentration. So this is the homeostasis of the calcium by the two hormones, calcitonin and the parathyroid hormone. So the actions of the calcitonin are also, as they are both antagonistic to each other, or we can say uh, are opposite, produce opposite effect to each other. So the actions of the calcitonin are also opposite to that of the parathyroid hormone. Calcitonin, it inhibits the calcium reabsorption from the bones. So calcitonin will be, we can say, responsible for the movement of calcium from the blood circulation towards the bone. Parathyroid hormone led to, we can say, weakening of the bones by the movement of the calcium, whereas calcitonin will do the reversal. It will move the calcium from the blood circulation towards the bones. So the bones will get, we can say, enough quantity of the calcium. They also promote the calcium deposition on the bones, and they also decrease the PCT calcium resorption. So more calcium will be now excreted in the urine. So calcium may be lost in the urine as well. This is how you can see here the different effects of the parathyroid hormone and the calcitonin of the different say, functions. Excretion of the calcium will be increased. Deposition of the calcium on the bones will also occur, led to more strengthening, inhibits the absorption of the calcium from the small intestine. So the food, calcium present in the food will also be, we can say, not able to absorb larger quantity of the calcium. Decrease in the calcium concentration in the plasma circulation. They all will be done by the, you can say, actions of the calcitonin by the thyroid gland. Then these are the different preparations for the calcitonin. Synthetic salmon calcitonin is present. It is used clinically. More potent and longer acting. Human calcitonin are also being produced. This is the, we can say, national unit of calcium. 4 microgram of the is equivalent to 4 microgram of the standard proportion. This is, we can say, produced using the recombinant technology. And then these are the side effects produced by the calcitonin preparation, such as nausea, flushing, tingling of the fingers is also frequent by after calcitonin injection. Allergic reactions may also be seen in some of the individuals. Then uses of calcitonin can be used in hypercalcemic states to reduce the calcium concentration, can be used in hyperparathyroidism because increased plasma calcium concentration is also present there. It can be used in hypervitaminosis D. Again, increased plasma calcium concentration is present there. Hypercalcemia of malignancy. This is a condition where we can say increased calcium concentration has led to a certain disease. Post-menopausal osteoporosis. Also, we can give calcitonin to increase the, can say, calcium concentration or to recover from the osteoporosis after the menopause, or in Paget's disease where there is disturbed replacement of the old bone tissue with the new bone. So calcitonin can be used in these certain conditions. Then last one we have is the vitamin D. Vitamin D can also be considered as a hormone. It is not being, we can say, released by a particular gland in the body, but the, we can say, effects and the functions of the vitamin D, we can say, make it more, we can say, near to a hormone present in the body. So it is the name given, it is a name which is given to the collectively anti-rachitic substances which are synthesized in the body and found in food which are activated by UV radiation. So it is present in three forms: D1, D2, and the D3. D3 is the more, we can say, active form, cholecalciferol. It is synthesized in the skin under the influence of the UV rays. D2 is called as calciferol. It is present in yeast, young fungi, bread, and milk. D1 is the mixture of anti-rachitic substances which are found in the blood. So they all are helpful in, we can say, maintaining the calcium concentration in the body and in, we can say, strengthening the bones. So activation of vitamin D2 and D3, they are equally active, and calcitriol is more important physiologically. So vitamin D can also be considered as a hormone because it is synthesized in the body. It is synthesized in the skin under the, we can say, UV radiation through, we can say, rays of the sun. It is also transported in the blood by binding itself with the, we can say, proteins present in the blood, activated, and then acts on the specific receptors on the target tissue. Activated, we can say, vitamin D, it is being activated by the kidneys. So it is converted into the calcitriol, or it is the active form of the vitamin D. So it is activated by the kidney, and then they act on the target receptors. So the feedback regulation of the vitamin D also occurs by the plasma calcium levels. That means we can say whenever there is decrease in the plasma calcium concentration, then vitamin D is also required to be increased. So increase in the plasma, decrease in the plasma calcium level will lead to the we can say activation of more vitamin D through the kidneys, so that more quantity of calcium, more concentration of we can say more concentration of calcium can be absorbed from the small intestine. So they both are we can say uh, they both are helpful in maintaining the concentration of each other by the feedback regulation of each other. These are the different actions of vitamin D under the effect of UV rays. So vitamin D, which is you can say present in the form of 7-dehydrocholesterol in the skin, is converted to cholecalciferol, or we can say ergocalciferol. Vitamin D2, which is present in the diet, they both are sent to the liver, and then in the kidneys there is the activation of the vitamin D, which generally occurs, and this they are showing all the you can say enzymes which are involved in the activation of the vitamin D. Parathyroid hormone, by using the enzyme 1 alpha hydroxylase, helps in the conversion also. 24 alpha hydroxylase, it is also we can say helps in increasing the calcium concentration in the we can say plasma, whereas 24-25 oxyhydroxy, which is the inactive form of the vitamin D, is converted to the 125 vitamin D active form. So this we can say active form of the vitamin D, it helps in increasing the bone resorption. It helps in we can say increasing the concentration of the calcium in the bones. It helps in we can say increasing the calcium absorption from the small intestine. It helps in the increased reabsorption of the calcium from the kidneys, or we can say decreased excretion of the calcium from the kidneys. And it also we can say is responsible for the decreased parathyroid hormone synthesis, because parathyroid hormone itself is responsible for increasing the calcium concentration. So when sufficient we can say calcium concentration is maintained, then PTH secretion will also be decreased. So ultimately we can say there will be increase in the plasma concentration levels of calcium. And these are the actions of the vitamin D. They also increase the phosphate absorption from the intestines, increase the reabsorption of calcium and phosphate from the bones, but appears to help bone mineralization indirectly by maintaining normal plasma calcium and phosphate concentration. So, vitamin D can do that. They, we can say, increase the movement of the calcium and the phosphate from the bones, but they are actually maintaining the we can say uh, uh, calcium deposition of these ions on the bone by maintaining the normal plasma concentration of both the calcium and the phosphate. So increased tubular reabsorption of the calcium and phosphate also occurs in the kidney, helpful. That's why helpful in maintaining the concentration of both the ions in the plasma concentration. So these are the different preparations for vitamin D. 1 microgram of polycalciferol is equal to 40 international units of vitamin D. Calciferol, also called as ergocalciferol or vitamin D2, cholecalciferol, vitamin D3, calcitriol, alpha calcidol, or dihydropachysterol. They all are the different preparations for the vitamin D. Then these are the therapeutic uses for vitamin D. It can be used for the prophylaxis and treatment of nutritional vitamin D deficiency. But we can say vitamin D is more helpful in treating the various conditions of such as which are related to the rickets, which we can say can be attributed to the abnormalities of the bones, weakening of the bones, which generally occurs in the childhood. So it is we can say more required at this but at the age of we can say for the children. So that's why helpful in preventing rickets. So they can be used for the treatment of various metabolic rickets, which we can say does not respond to the normal doses of vitamin D. So the we can say external administration of the vitamin D can be done. So they can be administered in the vitamin D resistant rickets. So it's a hereditary disease in which the vitamin D metabolism is normal, but the calcium and phosphate metabolism is deranged. So vitamin D can be administered from outside, and also the administration of phosphate with high dose of calcitriol can also be beneficial in these conditions. Vitamin D dependent rickets, it's a genetic disorder, and the administration of calcitriol and alpha calcidolol is useful in these conditions. Then renal ricket can also be treated with the use of the vitamin D. Renal rickets being the conversion of calcitriol does not occur in the kidney due to renal disease. So we have to administer the we can say calcitriol from outside. So because the inactive form of the vitamin D is converted to the active form with the help of the kidney. But if the renal disease is present, then this conversion is being affected. So as a result, the vitamin D or activated vitamin D is required to be administered from outside. Sorry. Then they are also helpful in treating the senile of post-menopausal osteoporosis. That means decreased plasma calcium level and the phosphate level in the old age after menopause. So this osteoporosis for can be we can say appear in some females after menopause. So that's why the plasma calcium concentration and the phosphate level has been decreased. So for the improvement of these, vitamin D can also be administered along with the calcium supplements. For the treatment of hyperthyroidism also, where there is decrease in the parathyroid hormone has led to the decrease in plasma concentration in the individual. That's why vitamin D supplements can be given, because vitamin D also helps in increasing the absorption of the calcium from the small intestines, or in special conditions, certain conditions where the phosphate level has been found to be decreased in, such as Fanconi syndrome. So to increase the phosphate level in this particular syndrome, vitamin D supplements can be administered. Okay, that's it for today. Now we can move on towards the doubt clearing session, because we have enough time for this.